Tonight, we have a very special caller on the line. He has been with the Black Coalition for 10 years now. We are joined by Mr. Ryan Cox. Hello, Mr. Cox.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes, we thank you for calling in with us tonight.
Thank you for the opportunity of talking with you this evening on behalf of the Black Coalition.
You are the Vice President of the Black Coalition, and you've been with them for 10 years about now?
Yes, I am. I am the Vice President, and I've been with the Black Coalition for 10 years. I assist Dan in his duties, and of course he's unable to, because he's at the hospital presently, and unable to fulfill these duties, so I have to take over for him temporarily.
So yeah. Our prayers are with him. CKT, we extend our prayers and our thoughts to him and his family.
Thank you. It is well needed.
At this moment.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about your group's history?
We have been in the area of sensitizing the public on racial issues and racial disharmony between the police and the black community for over 40 years. We celebrated our 40th anniversary in that field last year. So this is actually our 41st year in operation. The Black Coalition started as the Black Coalition of Canada, but the Black Coalition of Canada became defunct, and so we continued the name on the Black Coalition of Quebec, and it was headed by Dan Philip, and has been headed by Dan Philip ever since.
Right.
He's done a tremendous job in sensitizing the public on racial issues, racial profiling, for example, for 40 years. 40 years Dan has been preaching, or the Black Coalition has been preaching on the need to investigate racial profiling, and it took 40 years for the police to eventually accept that this is true, or this is so. An internal report from them indicated that racial profiling is indeed an issue. Secondly, Dan has also been sensitizing the public and the powers that be about the need to change the policies of police investigating police. And we are seeing trend to change, but of course, Quebec has not done that due to the fact that perhaps there are impediments to that, but other provinces have fulfilled that obligation, like Ontario. Ontario has an independent investigative body that when police are involved in shooting or in shootings or misbehavior, that independent body investigates the police and gives a judgment on that. We would like the same thing happening in Quebec. We would like to see that.
Why would you say that Quebec is kind of slow with catching up? Why do you feel we are the last to get on board?
We are the last to get on board because our community is not as vibrant and not as strong in sensitizing the other parts of the community on that issue, on these issues, if I might say that. We are not vibrant enough. We are not talkative enough. And because we are not talkative enough, we are taken for granted. And those of us who do the talking are sometimes demonized by our own community, as in the case of Dan Philip. Many times, you are demonized by your own community. We have tried several times to have programs offered. We've tried various, like for example, one of the greatest achievements of the Black Coalition is to get the city to recognize that slavery was a crime against, it was a crime, and the city has organized that. Matter of fact, every August the 23rd, the city is sensitized to the point. We have workers in the field like Marvin Rotrand, etc., Dan Philip. The city and the government of Quebec has acknowledged that slavery was a crime against humanity, but we are fighting to get the federal government to do the same.
And they still have yet to catch on.
We still have yet to catch on, yes.
Recently as well, Mr. Cox, the Black Coalition of Quebec sent out a press release concerning police weapons and specifically taser guns. Can you talk more about this issue as well that we have seen in the past? Yes,
on that subject, we have firmly showed our disapproval for that taser. The city did put a moratorium on the issue, but now have reneged on that, and they have changed their minds. And that's what this communique came to you about, because they have now changed their minds to the point where they are going to buy more tasers. Our thought was that the city would investigate the pros and cons of that to the point whereby they are sensitized as to whether this is a good weapon for the police to use. They have not done that, and I do not know why they have change their minds on the issue without even invest proper investigation into it. It's a dangerous weapon, that taser.
And
it has caused deaths. We know that. We had a gentleman here who died as a result of being tased.
William Regis, back in 2007, we saw the police using a taser for the man who passed away, and we still have yet to hear more into this inquiry.
That's correct. The Minister of Justice did express his concern because innocent people have died as a result of police shootings. And he did express the concern that there would be an independent inquiry into that, an independent investigation. To date, no issue. Nothing has been done, and the subject is just whitewashed. And it's whitewash after whitewash to protect the police, and I suppose to protect themselves also, because to determine that this is a fault with the police would be detrimental to the effectively running the city. Yeah? When you lose trust in the police, see, the police are supposed to guard and protect, not guard and kill.
Right. And that's one thing that we, here even on Soul P, we've been trying, come to terms. We've been asking questions with many different cases within visible minorities. And one question that keeps coming up, and I've asked some of the youth that have been on the show, we've asked many different people who've walked through the doors here, how can the community trust police officers, given that we don't know that the police are communicating with our community via weapons, not words?
That's correct.
What can the community do? Because a lot of us feel unsafe still, and we feel unprotected.
We do have to voice and show our concern over that by expressly sensitizing the public when this has been done. A case, for example, a very simple case came up some time back last year, where a gentleman, where police were actually harassing and beating a pregnant lady in Victoria. And the gentleman came in and said, what's happening there? And himself was beaten up. And what happens is that they say that you have been obstructing justice. They charge you for that. And there's nothing done as a result of that. Now, the point that comes out of that, and that should be stressed to the community, is that our youth, the younger people, not that only they are distrusting the police, but they have a fear of the police.
Right.
And when you have a fear of the police, what they do when they see the police, they begin to shake, and some of them run, and even children, 14, 15, 13, 12 years old.
They're getting younger and younger.
When they see the police, they begin to run, and right away the police accuse them, or search them, or stop them, and do all kinds of things to them. These things must stop. We have a few bad situations in the Côte-des-Neiges area, and it's too numerous to mention.
What would you say the community needs to know when dealing with the Montreal Police, specifically to the youth, because they are the next generation, they are the generation now? What are some of the things that we need to know as a community as a whole so that we can better communicate and have a better understanding?
First, you have to know your rights as an individual and as a citizen of this province. You have to know your rights. The Black Coalition, we have pamphlets that we issue on your rights. The first advice we give to any individual coming into contact with the police in a very bad way is to stay alive. The police has stopped you. Do not argue. Do not hesitate. Ask what you are being stopped for. But your primary intention is to stay alive. You do not want the police to be attempted to take off their guns or what have you on you. So stay alive.
Wow.
That's our first response. The others are to document everything that has happened to you in the issue. See if there are any witnesses. Take pictures. Right. Now we have cell phones that can take pictures. There are people that will take pictures. We advocate that. And the police themselves are conscious of that now. So when they are in a situation, they try to hide it away from the public. They even try to get your cell phone off you if they notice that you are using it. So that's our first advice. And then we give advice. The coalition gives advice to people who have been intimidated by the police on ways in which you can counter that. And the first thing is, as I said, to know your rights as a citizen.
Know your rights.
Know your rights as a citizen of this province. But any police can stop and ask you anything at any time.
So
any police can stop you and ask you any question at any time. However, you have the right to ask, why are you being questioned? But to argue with a policeman, we try to avoid that. We try to tell you, do your part to stay alive. That's all.
We thank you, Mr. Cox, for calling us in tonight. The website is www.ligudesnoirs.org. That's LIGUEDESNOIRS.org. O-R-G. If you want any more information. And the number, Mr. Cox, for the Black Coalition?
The Black Coalition is 514-489-383. Let me say in closing that, the disregard for human rights and disrespect for citizens in this province must stop. There's time. And until an inquiry is made into these cases of taser uses and police brutality and police, etc., police shootings that are causing death to citizens, we will not achieve anything. We would ask that everybody be conscious of your rights. And when you feel that your rights have been impinged upon, do call us and do make it public. Do not hide underneath it.
And know your rights.
Know your rights. In Quebec and in Canada.
All together we can do that. We can help each other and we can all educate each other. We thank you, the Vice President of the Black Coalition of Quebec, Mr. Ryan Cox. And we will go to a break. We thank you for calling. You're listening to Soul Perspectives on CKUT 90.3.
It is I who must thank you.
FM.